Welcome to our presentation about intimacy, presented to you by Boyd and Paulina. We will be discussing the dimensions of intimacy, masculine and feminine intimacy styles, cultural influences of intimacy, and limits of intimacy. Intimacy is expressed through 4 dimensions. They are physical, intellectual, emotional forms, and shared activities. Physical intimacy starts before a child is even born. They remain in their mother's warm womb, feeling a sense of physical closeness that they will never experience again. After birth, this feeling can be continued with children who are loved and cared for by their mothers, who will feed them, rock them, and hug them. But as we get older, this physical intimacy often turns into sexual attraction. Emotional intimacy is a connection in which individuals are able to practice openness and allowing themselves to become vulnerable to somebody else. Lacking emotional intimacy often leads to failed relationships and higher divorce rates. The third dimension is intellectual sharing. Not every idea results in intimacy. For instance, when classmates discuss their project, it will be highly unlikely they will begin to develop strong feelings towards their partners. Although intellectual sharing constitutes of communication, caring, and commitment. Communication conveys clearly what you are thinking. Caring involves giving your partner mutual freedom so they can independently think without dominating the other's thoughts. And commitment allows you to remain loyal and trusted. When it comes to intimacy, there is a misconception that women are better than men at developing and maintaining intimate relationships. In the amount and depth of information shared, female-to-female relationships are at the top of the disclosure list. Male-to-female relationships rank second, as expected, and male-to-male relationships involve a lot less disclosure. Scientists argue that the female trait of disclosing personal information and feelings made women are more emotionally mature and interpersonally competent than men. Unlike women who value personal talk, men grow closer by performing activities. One study showed that more than 75% of the men surveyed said that their most meaningful experiences with friends came from activities such as attending a sports event. The difference between male and female styles of intimacy helps explain some of the misunderstandings in relationships. For example, women who look for emotional disclosure as a measure of affection may overlook an expressive man's efforts to show caring by doing favors and spending time together. The notion of intimacy varies among different cultures. For example, intimacy disclosure is very high in the North American culture. North Americans are more likely to expose things about themselves to acquaintances, while an individual from Japan will be less likely, unless that is a personal relationship. They would not reach out to strangers before properly introducing themselves. They're very careful not to expose any information about other people that could cause them embarrassment in public. Individualist cultures like those of Canada or the United States, people act much more familiar with strangers and feel more at ease expressing personal information. These actions clearly show that North Americans may find people from other cultures undisclosing and possibly ignorant, while to others we may come off as social butterflies who expose way too much information about themselves. It is highly unlikely we can successfully establish intimate relationships with everyone. Only few people desire such closeness. Scholars have stated that an obsession with intimacy often leads to unsatisfying relationships. As rewarding as intimacy can be, it isn't the only form of relationships we can have with other people. Thank you.